Water is the source of life. The availability of water is taken for granted in our Western society. We drink, wash and swim in it without giving it too much thought because we believe that water is available in abundance. There are dangers in this perception of abundance. Why should we pay attention to the quality of water when there is plenty of it everywhere? However, that is a dangerous way of thinking. If we don't take good care of our water, the consequences could be disastrous. If we unthinkingly allow factories to dump harmful wastes into our rivers, it will be at the expense of the flora and fauna. The consequences may be serious, and so all negative aspects must be given due consideration, even at the smallest scale. For example, to combat the growth of algae and molds, we dose our plasters and paints with biocides to kill any algae and molds and so protect our beautiful stucco or painted facades. But there is a serious drawback. What happens when the biocides are washed out by rain or showers and end up in the ground or surface waters? Not only does this reduce the protective effect of the biocides, but the poisonous chemicals can seriously pollute the water. Dying plants and fish would be the result, endangering the entire food chain. Is there anything we can do? Governments have reluctantly come to recognize the problems and are tightening the regulations for industries, restricting the use of potentially harmful chemicals, building methods and materials. However, to conform to these regulations effectively, we need help from science to analyze our challenges and help find appropriate solutions that lead to a healthier environment. Scientists are searching for sustainable solutions to address the problem of the fast leaching of poisonous biocides from plasters and paints. At the same time, they are seeking to radically increase the protection against the growth of algae and molds on facades and in wet indoor environments, such as those found in bathrooms. In short, the AXIOMA project.
Biocides are used in surface coatings like paints and plasters to protect building exteriors against the growth of algae and bathroom ceilings and walls against mold. But the big problem is that the protective effect is relatively quickly lost because the biocide gets washed out. So the molds and algae come back again. And as the biocide is washed out, some potentially harmful chemicals can end up contaminating groundwaters and surface waters and eventually affecting plant and animal life. These considerations, deterioration of facades, ceilings and walls, and potentially harmful consequences for the environment, led us to look for a sustainable solution. It resulted in the development of slow-release biocides and the development of smart-release biocides.
To prolong the beneficial effect of biocides in building materials and reduce the harmful effect on the environment, the AXIOMA project was aimed at the development of two technologies: slow-release biocides and bio-triggered smart-release biocides. In the slow-release technology, the biocide molecule is linked to a carrier. Linking the biocide to a carrier slows down the washout effect, but biocide is still released to kill algae and molds. This way the biocide remains effective much longer. In the smart release technology, the biocide is encapsulated in a capsule of material that can be digested by microorganisms, such as molds, algae and bacteria, thus releasing biocide. It is called bioswitch technologies, in which release is switched on or triggered by the signals emitted by the microorganism itself. The signal is a digestive enzyme released by the microorganism which breaks the capsule wall. The biocide is released when molds, bacteria or algae settle on a treated paint or plaster surface. This approach leads to biocides being released only when an organism becomes active on a protected surface. As a consequence, much less biocide is released, and therefore less needs to be provided. The result of using AXIOMA technology can be quite dramatic. On the one hand, it preserves facade by protecting the aesthetic values as well as saving in cost because of the facade lasts longer. And on the other hand, it reduces the harmful effects on the environment. Improvements by a factor of 15 were seen from using slow release. And smart release technology promises even more. Currently, we are working on the development of AXIOMA technology solution for paints and plaster, and even the protection of growth filling the joints between the tiles.
Life cycle analysis, or LCA for short, is a rigorous method for assessing the impact of products on the environment during their entire life cycle. Applied to products using the AXIOMA technologies, life cycle analysis shows environmental, technical, and financial benefits. When introduced in finishing materials for buildings, LCA shows a reduced impact compared to the traditional methods of protection. Take plaster as an example. The impact on resources is high when maintenance is undertaken by regular repainting. Reducing the frequency of repainting reduces the impact considerably, but results in the deterioration of the facade. Traditional biocide protection by uncontrolled biocide release prevents deterioration but increases the impact on the ecosystem more than the reduction achieved by less frequent repainting. New building material formulations in which biocides have been applied, such as paints, plasters and tiles, maintain their protective effects much longer when using slow release and controlled release technologies. In the case of plaster, life cycle analysis shows a strong reduction in impact due to the combined effect of a reduction in biocide release and a longer lifespan of the material. In other words, AXIOMA technology requires less biocide to achieve the same protective effect. This benefits not only the aesthetic lifespan of a facade, but also its economic lifespan, owing to reduced maintenance costs. Anywhere in Europe, a building, a house, a bathroom project appears quite different when viewed with the ideas and technologies of AXIOMA in mind. The European Commission, recognizing that the problems encountered are similar throughout Europe and the wider world, provided grant support to the AXIOMA project under the 7th Framework Programme, FP7. AXIOMA technologies deliver a significant improvement potential to the new finishing materials used in buildings and construction that help preserve the quality of our environment, allowing us to decrease the leaching of harmful biocides and the pollution of ground and surface waters, increase the effectiveness of protection against the growth of algae and molds on painted, plastered and tiled surfaces, and increase the maintenance intervals by increasing the economic lifespan of building facades and interior surfaces. This brings our society beautiful stucco or painted facades in place of dirty outside walls, clean hygienic bathrooms free of mold-infested joints, lower maintenance costs in the face of rising cleaning and repair charges, a better and cleaner environment with reduced pollution, and better opportunities for environmentally friendly building care with responsibility shared by the parties involved, versus indifference when separate parties pursue singular interests. Government, science, material suppliers, and building contractors should now work together to apply the AXIOMA technologies. This is the next step to apply the know-how and technologies developed in AXIOMA to the creation of new building finishing materials for the world market. AXIOMA technology in paints, plasters and tiling products is just the beginning, but a very promising beginning to improving our future. The following partners contributed to the AXIOMA project, which was supported by the European Commission under the 7th Framework Programme.